Welcome back. Let's get you updated on the 2020 race and the lay of the land. It will be a bruising campaign. The president's camp not holding back. New ads depicting Joe Biden as confused, calling him, quote, clearly diminished and lacking, quote, mental fortitude. This as Joe Biden has not held a news conference in 80 days. Now, Nate Silver of 538, he is one of the top election forecasting groups. He says this is a different electoral map than in 2016, that President Trump is, quote, fighting a two-front war to win the Midwest on the one hand and then Arizona and Florida on the other. That's what Nate Silver is seeing. He, though, says, quote, I want to be really clear. Trump could absolutely win re-election. He has his work cut out for him. In a Fox Business exclusive, we welcome back to the show Marc Short. He's Chief of Staff to Vice President Michael Pence. Great to see you again, Marc. So your take on what it's good to see you. Your take on what Nate Silver is saying?
Well, Liz, because of some Hatch Act restrictions, can't really comment on the political strategy. But I can tell you, as you look at the president's energy and vigor and where he'll be going tomorrow, as you said, to Arizona, and to highlight the fact that this administration has now completed 200 miles of new wall, be going to the Midwest later this week to talk about expansion of our military and new resources provided there. The vice president will be in Milwaukee tomorrow to talk about the benefits of school choice and how we want to make sure that every child, regardless of zip code, gets the same opportunities. The vice president as well will be in Ohio later this week and in Florida next week. And so certainly we're going to have a very vigorous campaign, and you've seen the activity level that the vice president and the president have right now. Unfortunately, we look at the other side, and I think there are legitimate questions that Vice President Biden has yet to face media in over 80 days and seems trapped inside his basement at the moment.
So, but why is Joe Biden leading in the Real Clear average, the politics poll? That's an average of multiple polls that Biden's up by 9 points. I mean, Nate Silver is saying, if we believe the polls, Hillary Clinton would have won. So what's your take, though, on what the read of Biden being up right now?
I heard a reminder that from roughly Labor Day to Election Day last cycle, there were 150 public polls, and only 7 had Donald Trump winning the presidency. So I think that I think that in many cases, many pollsters have failed to take into consideration many of the Trump voters who have come into the electorate for the very first time. And I think that we're just focused on continuing to deliver results for the American people, and we think that the polls will take care of themselves. So what that means is that this president has created over 7 million new jobs before coronavirus hit our shores. And then we begin the Great American Comeback, and you saw 2.5 million jobs created last month. You saw a record retail number of 17% increase. And if we keep delivering for the American people, we're confident that the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah, and the American people were scared about COVID-19, and then they're doubly scared at the failure of local leadership and not keeping them safe from violent crime, now overtaking American cities, those cities led by Democrat leaders. That's the major themes now unfolding. Watch the president go after Joe Biden on jobs, loss to trade, on education, and on race. Watch this.
He's been there for 43 years or 47 years. He never did anything about it. Biden supported every globalist attack on the American worker. Let's make every country in the world rich but ourselves, including NAFTA, the disaster of NAFTA. He wanted to go, and TPP would have ruined our automobile industry. Korea, I renegotiated the deal. I took a horrible deal. That was a Hillary Clinton special. She said, we have to make this deal with South Korea. It's going to mean 250,000 jobs. And she was right for South Korea, 250,000 jobs. And China's entry into the World Trade Organization was supported by sleepy Joe Biden. Democrats want to raise your taxes. Tell me about that. I guess I'm old-fashioned. All my life, I heard politicians want to lower taxes, not raise them. If you could lower them, you couldn't lose. The Democrats want to substantially raise your taxes.
Okay, what do you think? He's hitting all the themes right there.
Well, Liz, I think that Donald Trump was elected in many cases because Hillary Clinton represented the establishment. Joe Biden was elected to Congress in 1972. 1972, he's been in Washington, D.C. I think the reality is that this president has begun to shake up that establishment order. He's made changes, and Joe Biden continued to support appeasement with China. This president has a different answer. This president lowered taxes. This president reduced regulations. Joe Biden continues to stand for the failed policies of the left. And if he's done anything to modernize his policies, it's to listen to AOC on the environment and Ilhan Omar on policing.
All right, Marc Short, thanks for joining us. Come back soon.
Thanks a lot, Liz. Thanks for having me.